you guys will spaz at me reminding me, which I always appreciate. You know, before I even get into this, let me just lay it out on the line, right? I've seen divorce. Let me turn down my mic. I'm a little bit hot. I've seen divorce ruin men. I've seen divorce take out men. I've seen healthcare and insurance not covering what people need. I've seen that bankrupt people. I've seen it ruin their lives. I hate the healthcare industry. I hate insurance. I hate our government. I hate everybody higher on the food chain than my post office worker that works for the government. If we're just going to be completely clear about this, I don't think it's okay to end the life of somebody because you disagree with insurance. However, I can see why some people are happy that a company that often ruins people's lives, why the leader of that company getting ended would make them happy. I don't condone it. I think it leads to a very bad society when you're just out there wiping out people that you disagree with. So I don't think it was a good thing. But there is part of me that understands how someone could get so angry at the system. Now, obviously, we'll know a little bit more once we get some information. But I thought this guy was probably a pro. Like, I thought he was hired. I was wrong, it seems. But I thought this was because he stayed calm, cool, collected. He waited in ambush. He did the deed off into the night. And for a couple days, they didn't hear anything from him. I said, oh, he's long gone by now. Smart. Here's what a smart person does. Covers their face. Covers their tracks. Yeets off into the night. Uses a ghost gun, which is a 3D printed gun. These are smart things and comes from a long ways out of town to do the deed. These are smart things. The stupid things that this person did, used a ghost and kept it on your person until you were caught. Wrote a manifesto. Pull down your face mask to flirt with the person at the hostel you're staying with while wearing the backpack and or jacket that are very similar to the ones that were seen on you. And then keeping all the things that you did. This guy is, I guess, a Penn State University graduate, probably thought he was smarter than all those blue-collared dumb cops. But the weird thing about this is that none of this seems to add up still. I still have many questions. His social media is still public. Usually the FBI yanks that down right away if they think they find the person that actually did something, or at least the friends of or family of the person or the police quickly yank it down. It's still up. There's just so many things about this that seem weird. So I'm not all in on this is the guy and this is definite and all the other things. We've got some questions out there. But they did get his face, and this is where we'll start today. Let me do a quick sponsored read from a great sponsor of this channel, TWC Health. All right, folks, big changes are on the horizon. Very soon, Trump will be back in office, and RFK Jr. is coming in and taking over for the CDC, the NIH, and the FDA. Well, get ready for a shakeup. RFK Jr. even posted the FDA's war on public health is about to end, calling out their suppression of treatments like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and essential vitamins. The wellness company is already ahead of the curve with emergency kits that are stocked with those limited access medications. These kits cut through the red tape, especially during the holidays when getting sick during travel is the norm. Be prepared with over 30 illnesses without stepping into urgent care and tackling the issue head on before it develops. I'm talking ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, everything you need to take control of your health. Their guidebook outlines common treatments for UTIs, strep throat, bacterial infections, respiratory illnesses, and more. All it takes is filling out a digital intake form, and your kit arrives at your door in 1 to 2 weeks, and they even have emergency kits for kids. These kits are only available in the United States, so make sure to reach out and go to twc.health/oddmanout and use code oddmanout to get $30 off and free shipping. twc.health/oddmanout. Use oddmanout for $30 off and free shipping. Links are down below as always. They did get his face. Unmasked suspect caught grinning, flirting with a hostile receptionist just days before United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And I wanted to let this breathe a little bit because a lot of people are I got to be the first to talk about something. But I wanted to, because at the time I said, there's no way this is the guy. This jacket looks tan. In the photo, it looks almost black. The backpack looks a different color. But apparently on this guy, they found pretty much all the incriminating evidence they need. They say a chilling photo showed the suspected gunman grinning widely while supposedly flirting with a hotel clerk days before he calmly ended the life of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside of a midtown hotel on Wednesday. The photo, the first, and as far as I know, the only to show the allegedly masked guy's full face, was released by the NYPD Thursday as a desperate manhunt for the cold-blooded guy led authorities to an Upper West Side youth hostel where they believe he stayed before doing the deed. The gunman who checked in with the High New York City hostel with a fake New Jersey ID only pulled down his mask because he was flirting with the receptionist and she asked to see his face, law enforcement told the New York Post. So here you've got this guy that pretty much probably could have gotten away with it. He used a ghost gun. I'm going to have to edit the hell out of this for YouTube. He used a ghost long-range hole puncher. He quickly did the deed. He escaped off on a city bike, which is kind of weird because those you usually have to rent with phone numbers and credit cards. So that wasn't exactly brilliant. And so he should have ditched everything. He should have ditched this jacket. He should have had backups. But instead of that, he kept everything on him. It just seems so weird. But this is the photo. And then the police came out and said, at first they were offering $10,000. Then I think there was an FBI match or something for $50,000. All of a sudden you got $50 or $60,000 out there. All you got to do is find a guy that looks like this. The calls were going to come in. And the calls did come in. But this is the main story. And there's two main stories. I just wanted to highlight one thing out of this one. Man in custody had a gun, mask, writings tying him to ending United Healthcare CEO. And all I needed to read out of this story is this one, because I have another story I'm going to read from. Mangione, if I'm going to pronounce that like Italians. Hey, Mangione. Mangione had a ghost, a type of weapon that can be assembled at home from parts without a serial number, making them difficult to trace, investigators said. So I'll tell you guys right now, you better, if you wanted a 3D printer, you might want to get one. They say as of right now, the information we're getting from the Altoona Police Department is the item, the hole puncher, appears to be a ghost one that may have been made on a 3D printer capable of lead throwing 9mm rounds. So yeah, probably if you wanted a 3D printer, because this is perfect. This is a perfect argument now for the government to go after 3D printers, plans of assembling parts for hole punchers online, making sure that if you have a 3D printer, you have to register it, and you can't get certain plans, and more lockdowns on the Second Amendment, and all the things. This is, oh boy, do they love stories like this. That's the main takeaway from this, is that this guy's mugshot, his picture, got shared, and everybody knew that when they saw him in a McDonald's, apparently, and the cops were called, the cops then checked his ID, and he used the same fake ID that he'd used up in New Jersey. The takeaway from all this is if he didn't pull down his mask to flirt, that's the only photo they had of him. He probably could have gotten away because he was in Altoona, Pennsylvania, already heading out of town. And they never, ever would have known because, like, if I did something and I had a mask on and a fake wig and a fake beard or whatever, and I go in someplace and I have it all taken off and I look like me, they're going to say, well, this middle-aged, slightly pudgy, bald man, he doesn't look like a guy that would do anything like that. But if I took down my mask to flirt with a hostile employee and got my face captured on video, yes, they would very probably quickly scoop me up. Anyway, they say Penn State University student, woke probably, detained in connection with United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's ending. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is the suspected ender of the United Healthcare CEO, and he allegedly wrote in a manifesto, these parasites had it coming. Okay, so spoiler alert, you get caught with a silencer and a ghost weapon and a manifesto, and your face looks like what was on video from you flirting, you're probably the guy. Like, either that or you're the worst, most unlucky guy in the entire world. In a significant development, a person of interest in the ending of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania on Monday. The individual was apprehended after patrons at McDonald's reported suspicious behavior, prompting a swift police response. Authorities discovered the ghost item resembling what was used in the video, a silencer, multiple fake ID cards, and a manifesto reportedly critical of the health insurance industry. Gee, do you think we've gotten our guy?
Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
Now, if you're going to think outside of the box, you might also say, like, well, they must have planted it on the dude or something or other. Because anymore, there's so many false flags by our own government that it does definitely make you wonder. But here's a decent-looking guy, probably gets attention from the ladies, although I will go so far, I'm not one of these guys that normally says this, but you might want to take a little bit of a weed whacker to the eyebrows. I'm just saying, even as a dude, you can say, hey, man, you gotta trim back the rain catchers up there a little bit. He was, anyway, Brian Thompson, we know what happened to him. The guy escaped, apparently, the guy that did this, escaped on an electric city bike, vanishing into Central Park. The brazen act occurred in broad daylight, and then the manhunt, and then they got a $50,000 reward. Congratulations to whoever called this in. The arrest in Altoona came after the tip from McDonald's customers who noticed a man matching the description released by law enforcement. And there it is. There it is. Now, previously, the description was 6 foot tall, like thin to athletic guy. That's all they, with brown eyes, I think. That's all they had. That narrows it down to roughly 60% of the population. Well, I guess if you take women out of that, 30% of the population. But because this dummy showed his face to flirt with a hostile receptionist, that's where they got his face. So everybody calling in the tips because he's meeting the description, they saw this photo that was being shared around social media, and they said, that could be him. I'm going to call it in. And there you go. That's all she wrote. Anyway, they continue on at the scene of the ending. Authorities found casings engraved with the words delay, deny, and depose, phrase eerily similar to those in the manifesto. So, okay, so now this is why he's either so dumb or this is an awfully bad setup by the FBI. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to write delay, deny, and depose on a casing left behind at the scene, and then in your manifesto, you're going to write similar things. And that book was found on your person in a backpack with the possible weapon and your manifesto. Like, how stupid do you have to be? Or it is the world's worst setup. I don't know which. I don't know if this is the world's worst setup or he's just extremely stupid. And what a crazy world we live in where you have to wonder to yourself, like, is the FBI stupid? Like, are they making this so over the top obvious that it's this guy that it makes you wonder if it's a setup? I don't know. Like, at this point, I don't even know. These markings are also reminiscent of the title of a book denouncing insurance industry tactics, fueling speculation that this guy may have been ideologically motivated. Gee, do you think? Thompson's wife revealed that her husband had received phone calls and threats prior to him being ended, adding to the complexity of the case. And what they say, while the suspect's identity has not yet been confirmed, he's currently being held on local charges. This is the dude. He kind of has a Chad Chattington look. I'm sure he had no problems with the ladies. So maybe maybe the lady or the woman at the hostel was decent looking. He thought he might get a little something before he did the deed and bounced. I don't know. But apparently he's not the brightest guy. This is his social media that's still up, Luigi Mangione. And there's a mix of replies to this where half the people are saying, well, it's because he's not very smart, obviously. And he's woke, and he probably thought he was smarter than the blue-collar police because he's a college woke kid. And then there's everybody else that's kind of on here saying, I don't know. Like, this seems so oblivious and so obvious that it feels like a setup. That it feels like, because they always wipe social media, but in this case, they didn't. Or they didn't force anybody to put it on hidden or something until they find out. So there's a lot of people, including myself, that are kind of feeling like, I don't know if he really did it or not, or I don't know. It feels like it, but it's hard to tell. But anyway, that's kind of where everything is. I'll be tracking this and finding out. But the funny takeaway is nobody would have known his face if it weren't for him flirting and simping got him caught. That's to me is the funniest part out of this whole story, is nobody knew what he was about or what his face looked like or nothing, but he pulled down his mask to flirt with a girl behind a counter, and simping probably caught this guy. That's all I'm going to say about that.